Boy, I'll tell you, in today's construction environment, it's really bad. But
How long have those guys been around?
they've done a lot of work in the past, and they slowed way down for the last couple of years, and then they ramped back up about a year and a half ago.
They're out of Sonora or something?
So I don't know.
Where are they on?
They're at Cathas Valley.
Anything else, Pete?
No.
Okay, ready?
We kind of touched on mine at the same time as Pete's. Anything you guys want to talk about?
Well, you know, one of the things, I went through your report and you talked about the tank sites, on the sites of the tanks. Mm-hmm. Now, are you going to bring all of these things that you're talking about in for capital improvement plan, or what is the plan on that? Because
I don't think it needs to be, because I'm talking about minute stuff. I'm talking, hour meters, pressure gauges. It's not something that's going to make our infrastructure worth any more money. It's just going to make, readings more correct, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we got pressure gauges that are rusted and whatnot, that the leak to glycerin out or whatnot. We don't know if that's correct pressure gauges or the right hour meters, you know what I mean? So it's just gonna be minor stuff. Along with like the galvanized piping, but I know there's 3 that are leaking right now. And so all that's gonna need to be replaced, coming from the tank out to wherever our sample tap is. Those are all rusted and leaking.
now, is this something you're going to do in-house, or is this something we need to contract out?
No, this will be something that, given there's other priorities, this is something that we can do. I mean, this is no harder than, digging the trench, following the pipe, find out where it connects, shut it off, put new plumbing in the ground, bury it back up again. This should be something that Jose and I can accomplish pretty easily.
Okay. So when you mentioned in your report site inspection, so do you have a quantitative list of all the things you would like to do at each tank site?
That's what we're putting together now. And some of them are just literally like Tulipin has an hour meter that doesn't work, so we can't tell what the pump hours ran. Simple. Other tank sites are missing the gauge boards, or the pressure gauges don't work. There's leaks. There's
So where I'm going is, do you have an inventory by site of what we need to accomplish?
I'm working on that now.
Okay.
I'll put that together.
So
And I don't know if you guys want me to bring that to you, or that's just something that I'm doing. So
Well,
Jose
you
and I
don't-
go,
you don't-
central tank, we're going to do this.
Right.
And you
Well,
go,
it'd be
we're gonna
good
do
to
this.
know, because I know the redundant conversations we've had over and over again. Where's our time going? Because I read this. Plant maintenance. We're doing the same thing, but we don't know what you guys are up against are the challenges, and the board is very frustrated there. And I know it can cause us some animosity, because we're saying, okay, what are you doing? So if we have a more quantitative educational thing for us, it will help us understand the challenges you have, and then if we need to go out and get other support and help, then we can support you better than saying, well, wait a minute, what are you doing? Don't tell me after the fact, or educate me on the front side. So that's what I keep asking for. So
I started to say I dream about this thing, but no, I have nightmares about this thing. I mean, several years ago, we went to a few tanks, and I certainly have never seen all of our facilities or all our tanks and everything, but all I remember is control panels mounted on rotting 4x4s with worn out plywood. The only thing holding them up was a conduit and maybe some piping. Torn down fences, just really pretty decrepit stuff. And I don't think it's changed in the last few years. So
yeah, it has. It's probably gotten worse.
okay. It's just
There's a lot more bubble gum out there.
I don't see a plan for putting up some solid new backboards on some posts and getting some fencing up and going and mounting new things on all this junk. To me, seems like kind of a cart before the horse again.
We're not going to. Let me let you know, because this is what's on this agenda item 5A is specifically to talk about the priorities of what we want to do and the level. If you want to walk to a tank site and there's functional security, there's the construction is done to current standards. The electrical is functioning, the hydraulics are are functioning and the site is, moderately reliable as much as we can see and do. That's a priority set by the board. That's given to the engineer, so that the engineer, as he's doing his site, he's going to be doing a condition assessment and determining, coming up with priorities and a replacement schedule, and looking at it in a whole instead of just piece by piece. Well, let's put a new, let's put a new panel on here because it's rusted. Well, you don't put it on rusted posts or on deteriorated posts. So that is, I'm going to have a discussion about priorities, because you can tell me to do it where it is 100% reliable, and that tells me one thing. You can give me a middle of the road, or you can just say, just get it done, just make it look good and make it last a long time, and that's the plan that will return. Now, the plan is not going to be just a list like this that says we're going to do all this stuff in-house, because that's what we've done in the past and we haven't been able to produce, because we've had changes in management, changes in board, changes in staff, changes in budgets. We're going to be looking at a plan to either package these into larger construction projects and get funding for it and do it, or, if it makes sense, or we'll I'll look at breaking it out piece by piece if we can over a period of time. But it will be plans and specifications, and they could be as simple as a one-page specification, treated post, this and that, and then contract it out and hold somebody responsible to get it done.
Mounting new hardware on rotten boards and non-existent posts and no security, to me, is, we've been looking for foundation stuff. Build a solid foundation, and that isn't it.
Randy, on paragraph 4 of your report, you talk about these meters. You fix 5, and then 5 more are broken. These meters are really, to me, seem like one of the biggest problems we've got with the meters, because that's where our money comes from. And do we need a new system? More, get rid of these transmitting ones and get a new. What do we need to make the problem go away? Fix it.
In my opinion, I'm sure that we could probably find a product that is a little more superior, maybe, or a little more, we could probably find it works in our application better, or one that's just not already 10 years old before we put it in the ground. I've said multiple times in the past, we don't know if it's the meters that are failing, if it's these transmitters that are failing, if people are cutting the wires, rodents are eating them, it just never goes away. And we're not saying that it's the equipment or it's the transmitter or it was inputted incorrectly or anything else. This is just ones that Cindy has determined this is not working, we're losing revenue. Customers are upset because they found out they had an $800 bill because they didn't get billed for 6 months. These are ones that she specifically has found that says, go take care of these. And in that following month's billing, we make sure that those ones were corrected. She finds more. That could be.
That's what your report says.
Right. So I don't think there's a fix-all solution to this. There hasn't been one since we put it in the ground. And
Well, you said there's something that might be a better application, and the reason I bring it up here is I don't see changing the meters in your part there.
Well, see, here's the thing is that we've been going around and reprogramming these things, and now they have a new style because they don't make these anymore. They also don't make the meter anymore, so we're going to get to the point here in the next 15 or 20 meters. That's all we have left on stock, is that we're going to have to buy a different kind of meter. They don't make Amco meters anymore. So what we bought 10 years ago and put in the ground is no longer available.
Priority number 1, we better start working on that. Put that right at the top of the list, because without meters, we're in trouble. Plus, in 2020, don't we have to cut back by 20%? Remember that little rule? We must have a 20% cutback on all water usage by 2020. If you remember, the governor did that, which means increase our fees by 20% because we're going to get 20% less water being sold.
No, it's already happened.
It did happen?
Yeah, we're already there.
We're in compliance.
Because it's compared to pre-drought numbers.
Is that what it
Yeah,
was? So we're
so
in compliance
yeah, we're in
100%.
compliance, but that doesn't mean that people aren't gonna continue to conserve more, you know? They always do as water cost goes up, but
Well, anyway, we need this meter thing, we
Hold on,
better
guys.
get after it.
We got kind of, I'll say, off track, because we were talking about Randy started with the plant sites, you know, the tank sites and stuff like that. Russ commented, then we went to meters. So what I kind of pulled out of the comments was, you're asking the board, what do you want? Is what I'm hearing you say.
can we just, and I'm fine,
But
with this conversation is on the agenda and we haven't
Later,
called that item yet.
That's what I was gonna say.
I would really like to
Okay.
go to that if we
Okay.
could, just for the matter of
Is Randy gonna
record.
stay for your part of it? Are you gonna be here for the whole
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have one specific question
Okay,
that he just
all right.
talked about.
And Danny, at some point, probably should open it up for the public because we,
Okay.
on the last couple of items.
Okay.
I'm just saying before you go to another one.
So let's just finalize the board comments on Randy's report. Anything else, Emery?
Nope.
Well, my quick question then?
Okay, well, does it pertain to his report or what's?
Specifically the meters, is the last statement on meters. Well, let me just do it. You said our meters are obsolete, and if I got this right, the meter consists of the meter itself and the,
Sending unit.
no, not the sending unit, the register. And then the register has a pulser in it that connects to the transmitter. So the transmitter itself would be, the pulser would generally standardize, they're gonna pulse once per whatever unit of volume they scale to. The transmitter would then be kind of universal and will work with any meter with that correct scaling and pulse output.
I believe so. I don't think the transmitters, because the ones that we're replacing now, we're replacing these old ones with a new style, and I believe those will probably work with any other meter. I don't know if we want to, because we don't have a choice. We can't get the meters that we have anymore, so we're gonna have to go with, I believe, Badger. If we buy 1,500 Badger meters, are we gonna want brand new transmitters to go with them, or are we gonna put these ones back in the ground with brand new meters?
Well, I think you need to tell us the options on that.
That's something that, you know, I mean, you're talking to,
we're gonna leave that to the experts. I'm not gonna make a decision about that. We're gonna leave that to a representative that's gonna back their product. I can give you, and I think when we do transition into the agenda item, I'll give you the details about it.
CIP time. Let's just-
But he just said he's only got 20 more meters, and then his decision is, we're not ready to buy 1,500.
No.
On the interim, can he get 50 or 100 meters, universal meters with
Yes.
pulsers?
Yes.
They're gonna work with our transmitter?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. That's what I want.
All right, anything else for Randy's report, Dan?
No.
Nellie? Okay.
Public?
Public, any comment on Randy's report? Thank you for keeping me on track, Steve.
I got a couple of questions out of it. I just want, just clarification, so I'll be quick. I think you said that you got the $86,500 for the wells, you got the whole
Yeah,
amount?
yes.
Okay. Second thing is clarification on the wells. I think you're saying that we had 3 wells working the whole month?
correct.
Because the financial statements do not show that, it only shows 2 are working, so we're not allocating the numbers right, but we actually had 3 wells. So that means we can count on 33 acre feet, each month if we needed it from the 3 wells, at least in the wintertime.
We wouldn't necessarily operate them continuously in that way for over 6 months without a further evaluation. 6 months was the maximum that we were advised under that existing report that we did, the hydrologic report related to those wells. They estimated a 6-month period at that rate.
At that rate, and we
Yeah.
just proved that we can get it, because we did
Yeah.
run the three wells every
Yeah.
day, or at least 5 days, every day, 5 days when we run.
It was closer to 27, 28 days
Okay.
continuously.
Okay, so we're getting, the wells will cover us if we're in a drop situation again, probably if we cut down to 50%.
Up to 6 months.
Or 25 or something like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially Wes, when we have Ranchito 1 back on as well.
Right, I know that.
Yeah, so,
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of consent. We have consent agenda, which are pages 6 through 17.